Our first guest tonight is a very funny comedian and actor you know from his work in Breaking Bad, The Mandalorian, and The King of Staten Island. He's the host of the Monday Morning Podcast with new episodes streaming twice a week. Please welcome back to the show our friend Bill Burr. How are you, Bill?
What's going on, Seth? Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you as well. I wish you were here in person. Bill, you are a famously optimistic man. How are you feeling about life going back to normal now that we have vaccines out there?
Well, I think, hopefully most people will take the vaccine. And I think people who don't, I don't know, at some point, you're either with us or you're against us. We have if you have a divided locker room, you can't win a championship. I don't know. Somebody's got to do a show called The Adventures of the Internet Doctor. These people who haven't gone to medical school, yet they somehow... You'd be like, oh, yeah, Johnson & Johnson has this. Oh, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like, dude, you drive a tow truck. Why would I listen to you about this? So I'm going to take it. I'm going to roll the dice, whatever. We'll see what happens. I am a little ticked off that it only lasts a year.
Right.
That's what I'm kind of being like, oh, I get it. This is that corporate thing. We could sell 7 billion or 7 billion every year. It's like, can you turn up the power and just cure the damn thing? Can you just do that, please?
Have you noticed a difference under the Biden administration with the vaccine rollout? Do you think it's better post the Trump administration?
Well, I think all those guys work for the same people. I think that's why Trump got out, as much as they're trying to act like it was a progressive thing. The thing about it is no one could make money with that guy because you didn't know what the hell he was going to do. He was a wild card. He was a gunslinger. I don't understand how war is still legal in 2020, how that's still an acceptable adult way that two countries solve their differences. And as much as everybody thinks that Democrats are these we are the world people, we kind of, they sort of toe the line when it comes to that, just like the so-called evil Republicans. So I'm kind of right in the middle. I'm not in the middle. I'm standing outside all of it. I learned a lot by listening to George Carlin, and I think he was way ahead of his time, and he was 100% right. Put it that way.
It's interesting you mentioned George Carlin and being ahead of his time because you produced a documentary about your friend Patrice O'Neal, who is a stand-up comedian that I know two comedians, was incredibly well-respected, incredibly well-loved, and maybe not fully embraced by an audience before he tragically passed.
No, he was the greatest comedian I've ever seen, ever. And that guy was so far beyond all of us. And there's no way in just this segment to try to sum up the enormity of his talent and the loss of him dying so young. I mean, he was the guy that he turned comedians who we never shut up. He turned us all into audience members. He would hold court on stage, off stage. He was just killing everywhere he went, and he could do anything from just silliness to social commentary. He just had, it's something I'll never get over. Be honest with you, and beyond being a friend, just as a fan of stand-up and seeing all of the craziness and the double standards and stuff that he could have had fun with. I mean, the first thing I remember when he passed away that I was like, God, I would have loved to hear his take was that Sandusky interview. When, I don't know how, but he would have somehow with pedophilia gotten a new half hour and would have had people laughing at something they didn't want to laugh at. It's just to not see him, he would have eloquently been able to say what I just said, whereas me, I just say it bluntly. What are you going to do to me, Seth? I do stand up in parking lots now outside of the Magic Castle, and I'm thrilled. I actually look at the cars. I like to see an even amount of Priuses and SUVs, so it's a nice, balanced, liberal and conservative crowd.
Oh, that's interesting. You can tell by the make of the car how balanced your audience is these days.
Yeah, too many Teslas. It's all right, these people are going to be detached. That's my big thing with Joe Biden. Before we get involved with this Iran stuff, I just wish he would take a ride in a Tesla and just realize that there's other ways to, deal with whatever the problem is over there. I don't understand why we can have nuclear weapons and other people can't. I don't get that.
So you think a ride in the Tesla would be beneficial to Joe Biden because he would less reliant on sort of oil producing nations?
Yeah. What you got to do is get in one of those things, have two kids in the back and your wife there, and have somebody in like a Porsche sitting next to you, and you just put it in what do they call it, in insanity, lunacy mode, and you just blow them off the line with groceries in the back. It's hilarious. So I guess gas combustion people are like, yeah, well, after 80 miles an hour, it's like, where are you doing 80? There's people driving around with their kids, you lunatic. Go to a track if that's what you want to do.